Okay, so I did some research last night. Match this with the new one that I put in the car. They are the exact same dimensions. The distance from here to here is the same. The width here is the same. I have an electronic micrometer that I can measure it, and it goes down to the thousandths of an inch. They are the same part. So this is the one that was in there that broke, or the straps broke and let this fall out. Exactly the same as the one that I put into that driveline. It is not the stock size, which means that I think the driveline at a minimum has been changed. Okay. These are the old straps. This one was not damaged. The other one got twisted and damaged when the bolt came out. If you look, nice, snug fit. That's not going to allow that thing, once I tighten it down in the car, it's not going to allow it to slide like the other one was. There was a little bit of a gap between, like kind of like that, about that much that was allowing it to move. This is going to be nice and snug. So I looked up this part number from the company that makes it. Got the dimensions and went looking for these that would match those dimensions that are made for these dimensions. Found this part number. Went and ordered it from O'Reilly's. Hold it up here. Because it's an aftermarket, it's not going to fit properly. See that? The gap? That's what I was fighting with the other one. I mean, nothing here is doing what it's supposed to do. This is probably the 7th one that I've tried. This is just... The only thing I can think, unless you can replace the driveline and that U-joint and probably that rear end, because somebody changed it at some point for whatever reason, hauling or towing or putting a lot of stuff in the bed on a regular basis. They wanted a beefier back end. The only thing I can think is to close this gap. Also, if you look, line these up. Sorry, I have to do this with one hand. Okay, these holes on this side are lined up. Let me grab it with my hand and hold it without moving it. Oh, dang it. So difficult to do with just one hand. One moment. I'm so frustrated with this thing. Okay. There we go. Those holes are lined up. Focus. Okay? Hole at the bottom. No, it's not going to show it. There we go, the light. They are not perfectly lined up. There's going to be some carryover. See if the flash will show it. There you go. That hole is lined up. That hole is not. I would not be able to get a bolt into this hole on the bottom. My only thought is to put this down on the ground and tap with a hammer right here, which will flatten this out and open it so that gap would be gone. And that will also kind of open up these holes so that they become closer to matching. So basically put this down on the ground, hit it. It's going to flatten this out and these sides will come out a little bit and this will come down. I don't know if that makes sense. Trying to explain to people that don't work on cars is difficult, but if I were to hold it up against here like this, if I took a hammer and hit it right where my thumb is, it's going to kind of... And I'm wondering, this was my initial thought when this first happened. I'm wondering if they just took something and pounded on it to make it work, to make it fit. And then once it was undone, it was never going to go back the same way again. Looking at this, my theory, I believe, is correct. I believe they probably had something like this. I think these ones initially were like this. And they just took it and beat it down with a hammer until it fit. Tightened it in. And it held, and it was fine the whole time you guys owned it. You would have never known. But the minute you remove it, this thing is not the same, and you're not going to be able to get it back on properly. And you go buying parts, and they don't fit properly. I think the people that did it probably ran across this and just said, screw it, and just started hammering on it until it fit. So that's the option that I have, is I can try and massage this down with a hammer. I might put a little heat on it so it's softened up, and just tap it lightly with a hammer until I can get it to meet that radius without that gap, and then run it down in there and see if it works. I don't like the idea of it, but I know your dad's stuck without his truck, and I know it's driving him crazy, and believe me, it's driving me crazy. But I think this might be the 6th or 7th set that I've tried, that I've had in hands that you put up there and they don't fit. And this is the number that is supposed to fit this U-joint. So I think they just modified it and made it work.